name is Juan Reynoso. I'm going to tell you a story about something that occurred when I was 10 years old. During that time, when I was growing up, I had a lot of pain in my legs and things like that. So I just thought, growing up, you boys experience growing pains and problems and things like that. But they would happen almost every day. So as I was getting older, 10, 11, they started happening, throughout the day. And the doctors were just saying, oh, you're going to go through a growth spurt, whatnot. So one day, I actually went to bed, and my mom had given me, children's Tylenol. And she was always just saying, you're fine, you're growing up, just stop whining, just go to bed and you'll be fine in the morning. So that morning, when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't feel my legs. I thought maybe they were asleep. So I reached over, took the blanket, and tried to get out of bed, and I immediately just fell to the floor. My entire lower body felt paralyzed, and I originally thought, okay, well, this is weird, wake up legs. So I tried to drag myself, and then I realized there was no feeling at all, not coming back, no tingling or anything like that. So about a minute of me laying there literally on the floor, I started to get panicked, and I got scared. And then these incredibly sharp pains started shooting through my entire body, up towards my back, towards my neck, and I started to try to yell out for my parents to see, hey, come help me. No one was listening. It was like a Saturday morning, cartoon day. So I literally dragged myself down we had this long hallway, and I dragged myself down the hallway, and my mom and sister were in the living room watching TV. My sister thought I was just joking, and there was this big debate about me playing around and trying to get my mom's attention. Cut now, my mom got freaked out, and she said there's something definitely wrong with Juan. They took me to the hospital, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. So that day, I went to a doctor's office in Escondido here in town. They took me to a specialist in San Diego, and finally ended up at Children's Hospital in San Diego, where I was put in the hospital for about a 2-month period. I went into this weird, they did all these tests, and ended up having that I had a bone marrow disease, a very rare disease that's somewhat similar to leukemia, but it's kind of unexplained. And the only resolution to keep myself living at that time was to amputate. So they were going to actually amputate my legs. It was a really, really hard thing to deal with, especially being a child of 11 years old, and I'm a family of faith and a very strong background in faith and spirituality. So my parents were like, no, we're not going to accept that. We're going to pray that something is going to be done. And my whole family and the church, everyone was just praying and hoping for a miracle. Well, it had been almost 2 months now that I had been in the hospital, and it was actually the day of my scheduled amputation, and I already had seen doctors and nurses and prosthetics, people who were going to actually help me going through this process of my life if I had amputation done. I told the doctor that morning, I want to try to walk, and the nurse and him were like, you're weird, there's no way you could walk, we've been through this, you've gone through coaching already, you know what's going to happen. And I said, no, I want to try one more time, I'm going to be able to walk. The doctor was like, just let him, he's very persistent. Pulled off the blanket. I put my leg down, it was really weak. I put my full weight on my legs, and I was immediately fine. Nothing is ever explained to this day. There was no test results that show any problems. It was like nothing ever happened in my entire life. So to this day, I have never had any reoccurrences in that situation, but I call it a miracle. So it's just kind of crazy. That's my story.